presents Vision from the Past.
Oh, yes, Mr. Canfield. I've been expecting him. Would you show him into the parlor, please? We will receive Mr. Canfield here in the parlor. Mr. Canfield.
Yes, sir.
I'm Major Nelson.
Major Nelson. Very happy to meet you, sir.
Pleased to meet you. May I present Major Canfield? This is Major Nelson.
Happy to meet you, man. Yes, very glad. I wasn't quite sure if this was the residence to find or not, and these people gave me some support and figured it might possibly be.
I see, Mr. Canfield. First of all, let me apologize on behalf of the commanding officer, Lieutenant Colonel Conrad. He extends his apologies because he is unable to be here. He's at regimental headquarters in St. Paul. No, he's not ill. Thank you very much, Mr. Canfield. But he has asked me to stand in his behalf and make you welcome here at our garrison.
Now, you have some idea then of the reason for my visit?
Well, not really officially. We just knew that you were visiting Mr. Canfield and that Indian policy is changing.
Yes, we are. The Bureau of Indian Affairs is contemplating a number of resources such as this as a possibility for establishing an Indian school. You know, the boarding school idea is now in the ascendancy, and so my mission is to look at your facilities and see what the possibility is. Now, this house would be the superintendent's residence, I presume.
Well, it's the commanding officer's residence. Of course, when the commanding officer is away, the highest ranking officer is allowed to reside here.
I was wondering this: the weather conditions in this part of the country can be very difficult, no?
Well, Mr. Canfield, I don't know what you've heard about Dakota Territory. The state has recently joined the Union, and it's really not as bad as has been reported. We have temperatures of 40 below in the wintertime.
Fireplace will provide sufficient heat for a big room like this?
Well, of course, in the wintertime, sir, the strikers do bring in the wood-burning stoves. Any self-respecting family, of course, has those stoves taken out. The strikers come into the quarters during the spring and remove the stoves so they do not have them present.
There is adequate.
Oh yes, there's adequate facility or heating facilities for all of our buildings.
Would it be possible? Would it be possible to take a walk around and get a sense of what some of the buildings are, what facilities there are or will be available, assuming we do make the selection of this place as a desirable.
Of course, Mr. Canfield.
Right,
I do understand, though, you already have a school operating with the Grey Nuns up here.
We don't. I'm not in that. I'm not involved in that. The problem the Bureau is settling with the Bureau of Catholic Missions, I'm not involved in it at all. I want to participate and not get involved in any discussion of it at all.
I understand.
Fine.
Okay.
All I have to do is to check out the facility here, see what's available, and whether I recommend that the facility is proper.
Very well, Mr. Canfield. I'd be glad to show you around. Mrs. Major Nelson, would you pardon us?
I hope sometime soon you can join us for.
Well, I hope so. We certainly monopolize the conversation, and under those circumstances, we can perhaps be a little more genteel. All right. Nice meeting you, though. Perhaps our friends would like to join us, if you have no objection.
I have no objection, Mr. Canfield. If you would like to join us.
All right. Good afternoon. I am most gratified to see you here today, few though you are. I have two reasons for asking you here. First, I have received word that there is a movement afoot to help dismissed. No, I'm not concerned. My record here, the work I have done, will defend me. And secondly, I want to make sure that should I be forced out, that I know that there will be people of stature who know the truth about me and will tell it. I hope these letters will give you some sense of my difficult position here. As most of you know, I opened the Fort Totten Indian School almost 10 years ago now, while the military was still in occupancy, postponing, in my opinion, their movement to Fort Lincoln as long as they possibly could. And at the same time, the Bureau of Indian Affairs was engaged in a prolonged discussion, which also delayed the opening and caused me no little embarrassment. This letter I wrote to Mr. Wiley Winter, Elderly, North Dakota, may perhaps give you some sense of my difficult position. October 28, 1890. Dear Sir, in regard to your application for a position in the Fort Totten Indian School, allow me to say that for the past 3 months, there has been a difficult, a vigorous fight going on between the Catholic Bureau of Indian Missions and Commissioner Morgan as to whether or not the Grey Nuns of Montreal, a community of Catholic sisters who have been teaching the Indians under the old contract system, should be retained or not. The Honorable Commissioner opposes retaining, and he has made a strong fight to have all Indian schools non-sectarian. However, the Bureau of Indian Missions has succeeded in having the Commissioner overruled, and I have received orders to give the sisters every position in my command, 11 in all. So, I am sorry to have to disappoint you and many others in this matter, but as it is, I am powerless. Very respectfully, William F. Canfield. So, there was nothing for me to do but comply, and so, on November 3rd, 1890, I wrote the Commissioner, Sir, I have in the honor to report that in compliance with your instructions, I opened the contract department of the Fort Totten Indian School on October 27, 1890, with an attendance of 40 pupils. I now have an enrollment of 56 pupils. And I will fill this building to its utmost capacity at what I think will be 100. Yours respectfully, W.F. Canfield. The building, which is the military warehouse, has been put in good condition as our commissary. And the barns to the south have all been put in perfect repair. And the 3 buildings with the military designated as bakery and the guardhouse, which was straight behind here, past the flagpole and behind the barracks, both of these buildings have been put in first-class condition. The building which the military designated as company officer quarters, these buildings along this row have been calcimined and the necessary repairs made and are now used as the girls' dormitories. And the buildings which were once the infantry barracks, those across the parade ground and parallel to these, are now serving as boys' dormitories. And the building in the far end, which was that row, which was designated by the military as company quarters, is serving as our classrooms. All very well worked and very well done. Shortly after that, oh yes, there was one other thing that I wanted to mention on that. I said in making the aforementioned repairs, I had expended the sum of $900 for materials and $800 for labor, respectfully yours, William F. Canfield. Then in November, in July of that year, 1891, I made my first annual report to the Bureau of Indian Affairs, and it contained, among other things, an evaluation of the personnel that I had employed for the school, with 1 or 2 exceptions. A really superb group. Thomas A. Porter, principal disciplinarian, has had much experience in Indian schoolwork, shows marked ability in conducting classroom work as well as enforcing discipline in all the various school departments. Madeline Cass, teacher, is a woman of fair ability but interested in her work, has the confidence and respect of the girls in her charge, is faithful and very anxious to promote the interest of the service in all departments of the schoolwork. Christian L. Lindstrom is the industrial teacher, honest, faithful, and very industrious. Albert S. Patty, farmer, is a good stockman, understands farming thoroughly. Carrie C. Ellis, matron, a woman of good education, honest in her intentions, has the confidence and goodwill of the girls in her charge, is obedient to her instructions. She lacks force and individuality, however, and does not seem to realize the responsibility of the position she holds, and does not give the proper attention to those small matters of training which in the aggregate have a strong bearing on the education of an Indian girl. I wish to give her an opportunity to correct these defects. Then, yes, Marie C. Canfield, assistant matron, is my wife. Very valuable in this position, giving me much information about the female pupils which could not come to my attention from any other source. Hattie L. Robinson, seamstress, confident, good character, performs her work in a satisfactory manner, but she is one of these persons somewhat given to gossip and fault finding. I have made her well known to her that such conduct will not be allowed, and that upon repetition I will ask for her removal. And they see Hackney, laundress, industrious, honest, faithful, and confident. And then Eustace S. a tailor. He's an Indian. He comes to us highly recommended by Captain Pratt from the Carlisle Indian School. I am well pleased with his qualities. He is indeed a credit to the school from which he comes. And then John Meyer, engineer, blacksmith, is an industrious, honest, upright man, a fine and a first-class engineer. He has, for the past 19 years, been in the employ of the military on this post, understands the workings of the water system absolutely totally. He also does tinning and does some repair in that line too. Yes, we are indeed very fortunate to have John Myers. You may have perhaps wondered why I said so little about Annie C. Hackney. Well, Miss Hackney represents a failure in judgment. These evaluations were made in July of 1891. By April 1892, I had to write the commissioner as follows. Sir, I have received your letter of March 29th enclosing the clipping from a newspaper in which charges and insinuations are made against the management of the Fort Totten school. Our school is under excellent discipline. No difficulty whatever is being experienced in maintaining it, and guardhouse punishment has been resorted to in only 4 instances in the past year. And there have been no scandals in the school other than those initiated and circulated by the discharged laundress, who is the author of the article in question. The moral atmosphere of the school is very high, and the relationships between the employees and the superintendent are of a very friendly nature. There have been no indiscriminate discharges of teachers or others, and there have been no cases of insubordination. The 6th of November last, 2 boys were placed in the guardhouse for a term of 4 weeks, but the punishment fit the crime. They were well cared for, they came out in the best of health, and they were not the subject of ridicule. They are now in school and students doing very well. This letter in question isn't its entirety of base fabrication, activated solely in the spirit of revenge, because in February 17th, I discharged Annie C. Hackney for the crime, for the problem of originating and circulating slander, and for the further reason that she was guilty of the grossest kind of immoral conduct with one Frank Kitchen, discharged agency employee, and to this crime she has admitted. To the wife of the industrial teacher who once gave me the information. Well, under those circumstances, my duty was clear. I discharged her. And now, along with the assistance of this man, Kitchen, she is instigated and furnished data for the article of our discussion. And in support of these statements, I respectfully refer you to all the employees of this school. I am so most respectfully your obedient servant, W.F. Canfield. Well, despite such harassments, under my leadership, the school continued to provide its services. In 1895, there were two questions of school policy that needed to be dealt with. I wrote the Commissioner in August 17, 1895, Sir, the Fort Totten School is, as you know, conducted in two separate departments. The school proper in these abandoned government buildings, and the second school in the government buildings a mile distance in which the Grey Nuns are totally employed. Now, the relationship between the two is of a very friendly nature. And I would recommend that the branch known as the Sisters Department be continued as part of the Fort Totten School. And I would further recommend that all children from other reservations be removed from that department as fast as the children from the Devil's Lake Reservation will come in. As a result of such action, these Indians will have total control of that department, which is what your informant says they desire, and the friendly relationships will continue as they are now. Also, we have had some difficulty in attendance. The children of the Devil's Lake Reservation have been urged, and every possible device at my command has been used to induce these parents to place their children in schools. There are 210 children of school age on this reservation. This past year, there were only 80 in attendance. I mean, these people feel kind of disposed toward the school, but they are under the impression that they are citizens and are obligated to send their children. And when urged to do so, make some trifling excuse. Well, now, I urgently recommend that you make very clear as to whether or not these children are obliged to attend or not. And if so, that these people be so advised. In my opinion, if they were instructed by the Honorable Commissioner to place their children in school, full 80% of them would do so. Most respectfully, your obedient servant, W.F. Canfield. You know, during these years, I was able to develop a number of helping hands for our school. Ladies' organizations from as far away as New London, Connecticut, who were interested in our work. One such was Miss Charlotte Palis. Well, perhaps my answer to her questions may interest you. She wanted to know about our school, and I said, well, our aim is to give our Indian pupils a good secondary academic education, and they are also given instruction in vocational subjects. And then I named the number that we do instruct in. Harness and shoemaking, tailoring, carpentry, wagon work, plastering, painting, calcining, engineering, plumbing, baking, cooking, farming, gardening, and stock raising, and then for the girls in general. Housekeeping, sewing, darning, mending, cooking, and laundry. Each pupil attends the academic school a half a day and receives instruction in vocational subjects on the other half a day. The school hours are in the morning from 8:45 to 11:15, and in the afternoon from 1:15 until 4:15, with a study hour in the evening from 7 to 8. Miss Paris also was interested in the difference between white children and Indian children, say in the area of aptitude, she questioned. So I told her, well, the Indian students differ in aptitude just as white children do, but on the whole, the difference in the aptitude between them and white children is not as great as one might expect. They are, in fact, ordinarily more easily handled than the white children. And then I thank you for your interest, respectfully, W.F. Canfield. Very often these ladies would send gifts to our Indian young people, and I thank Miss Frances Dennison of New London, Connecticut, who did that. I said, dear madam, I desire to express our appreciation of your efforts in behalf of our Indian children at the school in sending, for their amusement magazines and newspapers. And what she sent were Wellspring, you know that, the magazine Dumb Animals, Our Sunday Afternoon, Children's Hour, Mayflower, Little Pilgrim Lessons, and Babyland. And then I said, they are all much enjoyed, and we all hope that you may continue to be able to keep your lady friends sufficiently interested to continue to send our children such magazines and papers. You know, it is most gratifying to feel that there are spread through these United States other people who are interested in and working for the welfare and the advancement of our young Indian men and women. If the Christian people of our country would take hold of this question, I feel quite certain that the problem would be solved far sooner and to far better advantage. And then I thanked her. I said, thank you again in the name of our 270 children for your kind and noble efforts in our behalf. Sincerely, your W.F. Canfield. These letters were quite important for me. A great source of courage as the defiance among the staff increased as the century neared its end. In 1899, I had to face insubordination of a magnitude I had never dreamed possible. One of the teachers, a Mr. William Walker, circulated a petition in which he questioned my competence as a disciplinarian. I received the petition on December 3rd. Mr. William Walker, Esquire. Sir, I am in receipt of a petition which bears your name. Here, let me read it to you. Petition. We, the undersigned employees of the Fort Totten Indian School, do most respectfully appeal to you for leniency in behalf of the pupils who are now marching. While we understand that severe punishment is often necessary, we do not think it right to expose pupils to weather ranging in temperatures from 20 to 30 below zero. We therefore appeal to you to suspend such punishment until the weather moderates. Well, I desire to say first that these students are being punished for very grave offenses. That of deliberately lying, card playing, and smoking in the school buildings, and also for willful and premeditated disobedience and other things. And they deserve punishment of a very strong nature. And these punishments in each case has been inflicted by me personally after a very thorough investigation and after each of the students admitted to his guilt. And third, that each and every one of these students has a warm overcoat, overshoes, cap, and mittens, and are in other ways best to be out in weather like this. And fourthly, that every one of them knows they have permission to go inside their building to get warm whenever they are cold. And they all do so many times a day. See, I am by nature as kind and as sympathetic, especially to the young and weak, as any other man, and would not inflict injustice and cruelty on any child under my administration, and have not in this case. I wish to repeat that these punishments have been inflicted and administered by me personally, taking into consideration the gravity of these offenses and the further fact that these boys under consideration have not suffered to any great degree. I must, in the interest of good discipline and for the future of this institution, refuse to act favorably on this petition. Respectfully yours, William Canfield. Well, rebellion did not cease. It spread to the students. One, Frank Young, ran away from school, made his way to Emerson, Manitoba, where he told Miss Josephine Wright, the sister of one of the boys here, any number of lies about her brother. In alarm, the woman wrote the boys, not me, as she should have done. Well, naturally, I interfered. I wrote her, Madam, April 17, 1899, a letter to your brothers. Your brother Alec came to hand some time ago. Your brothers are in the best of health. They have never been tied up or punished, nor has any other boy. All children are well treated here. But they have to mind, and if they don't mind, they'll be punished. Extra work, or marching extra out, or some other way, or some other method. I don't know who you mean by Frank, but I suppose it is Frank Young you were referring to. Well, the boy ran away from here for the reason that he would not stop smoking in the school building, and he was being punished for so doing when he ran away. I don't care what he said, but if he said anything other than that all children are well treated here, he simply tells the whole. Your brothers are well. You can tell their mother that she is welcome to come here and see them and visit them, but under no circumstances will I let her take them home. And you can tell her that if anybody tells her that her children are sick, they're telling her a downright lie. They never even check the home to be. And you can also tell her that if any time you or she ever want any information about the children, if you write me, I'll tell you any and all the information you want. Well, I'm very sorry, but the recollection of these episodes, I'll be back in a few moments.
Regretfully, I do not believe that Mr. William Canfield will be returning to Fort Totten. You see, Mr. Canfield continued to have problems with his administration here of the boarding school at Fort Totten. He continued to try to promote his wife as the chief matron of the school, and it led to a great deal of conflict, in fact, open rebellion amongst the entire staff, not only the teachers, but the entire staff. They did not want Mrs. Canfield as the chief matron. However, Mrs. Canfield, in trying to support her husband's viewpoint, even attempted a feigned suicide attempt right here in this very building. It did not work. Instead, it led to an inspection by the reservation superintendent. And after the inspection of the Fort Totten boarding school, the superintendent not only stated that Mrs. Canfield was not suited as the chief matron of the school, but Mrs. Canfield should not even be allowed to reside upon this reservation. So by 1902, Mr. Canfield was removed from the superintendency of the boarding school here at Fort Totten, and a Mr. Charles Ziebach arrived with his family to move into this very quarters. Under Mr. Ziebach's administration, the Fort Totten Indian School grew. He liberalized many of the policies that William Canfield had originally set down. For instance, in the dining hall, brothers and sisters under Superintendent Ziebach were allowed to sit together, and families were allowed to, or parents were allowed to come and visit their children here at this school, which Mr. Canfield did not allow. So there was a considerable easing up and liberalization under Charles Ziebach's administration. In fact, Charles Ziebach built this school in terms of student enrollment to an enrollment of 471 students, using not only the students of the Devil's Lake Sioux tribe, but also encouraging the Chippewa and the Métis people to also have their children attend school here. But that also led to some of the problems which Superintendent Ziebach discovered here. He was not a good financial manager, and because he had such a large student body and had built this school to become the largest of all of the Indian boarding schools in the entire system of United States government boarding schools for Indian children, Superintendent Ziebach did run into some problems here at the Fort Totten Indian School. He was also instructed to become the superintendent of the Devil's Lake Sioux Agency, or reservation, and he also became third in his responsibilities was the superintendent of Sully's Hill National Park until Sully's Hill, until the United States Congress in 1913 passed a set of criteria, and Sully's Hill National Park did not quite match up to all of that criteria and was removed from the national park status and transferred to the National Wildlife Game Preserve, which we enjoy today. Well, because Superintendent Ziebach had run into trouble, by 1917, a new superintendent by the name of Young was sent here, and later another superintendent, Davies, was sent here. And these two men reorganized the school, got it back on financial sound ground, but they continued to have various problems with fires and other problems, and United States government policy changed until finally in 1935, under President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, a Indian Reorganization Act was passed, and the boarding school was closed. In its place, a tuberculosis preventorium to study and try to prevent the spread of the disease tuberculosis, which was rampant on Indian reservations, was opened here at Fort Totten. Incidentally, it did continue the educational role for children that were sent here to this preventorium. But by 1940, the preventorium was moved 7 miles distant, and a community school was then opened up. It was a day school operation, but students could also come and reside here in a boarding school situation. And so Fort Totten Indian School continued at this site until 1959. And then a new school was built about a block and a half to the northeast of here, and the old military post Fort Totten Indian Boarding School was closed down. In 1960, this site, with some 17 of the original structures remaining, was transferred to the State Historical Society of North Dakota, and it stands today as the best preserved military post in North Dakota, and perhaps one of the best preserved forts in the Trans-Mississippi West.
The State Historical Society of North Dakota is housed in the North Dakota Heritage Center on the Capitol grounds in Bismarck. For more information about these programs or the State Historical Society of North Dakota, please contact the Education and Interpretation Division, North Dakota Heritage Center, Bismarck, North Dakota, 58505, or call 701-224-2799.